I have a way of not knowing what I'm going to say, and maybe it's because I took improv in college or something. But the thing that we're talking about today is what in many churches all over the country are talking about, and that's Memorial Day. I think that there is a general feeling about Memorial Day that we have in our hearts and in our minds that mean whatever it means to you. I think for many people today, it just means the beginning of summer. I want you today to think of it differently. And I'll give you some ways of remembering things. I don't write speeches, I don't memorize things. I have too much ADHD to do that. But there are mnemonic devices that I use in my life that helps me remember things. So these are all the divinities that I'm initiated to in the Yoruba tradition. And when I pray, I remember them by the colors and by the kinds of gemstones. I know very complex things about each one. And they are sort of my parents. In this case, my mother's. All right. So I will say Oshun, and I will say Yemaya. I will say the Iami, Osarango, and that means our mothers from beyond the times that we even remember their names. And that's very important in the Yoruba tradition. Can you imagine that? You have ancestors so old, so far gone, you don't even remember your names. And for some people today, that's even like their grandparents who died before they were born. They don't remember their names. And that's important. Because in the Hindu tradition, in the African tradition that I come from, and I sing these songs because I'm also initiated as a yogi, and that doesn't mean I can sit on the floor and cross my legs, because I can't. I am a kirtan yogi, and that means we sing the praises of basically the mothers, okay? So that's what you did today. When you say, hey ma, that's universal, right? In any language, I can say, hey ma, right? But if you think of it as Sanskrit and some weird thing you don't know, and you're just saying the words phonetically, you're not thinking of it the same way. In fact, the thinking of it is not what you're doing. You're remembering it. It's in your heart somewhere, and you're bringing it back out. And we all know what the love of our mothers are. And we know the mother's love. And more important, in the Hindu traditions and in the Yoruba traditions and in the Vodou traditions, which is West Africa, north of Nigeria, and also in Haiti. So when I say I am a conchante of Vodou, it means I'm a voodoo doctor. I know that's scary. But what it really means is I'm a singer and I'm a storyteller. And most of what I sing about are the divine mothers. I guess the divine fathers can mostly take care of themselves. And they get a lot of airtime these days in other religions. And I think that in the religions that are worried about the children at times like these, we remember and venerate the mothers. So we say Jai Ma, and we say, hey Ma Durga. Who's Durga? Durga's one of the mothers. But there's lots of mothers. So Durga and Kali are the mothers we call for divine protection and also divine victory. So this is a special time and a special song when we are remembering those who died in wars, those who died in the service of their country. And in other traditions, in the African diasporic traditions like Lukumi and Obia and the one I come from, Vodou, which I've just forgot, which is called Guinea Yoruba in Haiti, in the mountains. They remember how they used to worship hundreds of years ago before they were enslaved in mostly Nigeria, in Africa. And what they remember are the stories and the songs of the Loa, of the Orisha, and of the mothers. Why is that important today, this weekend, tomorrow? Well, today is Memorial Day weekend, and we think about that. We celebrate on Sundays because we have picnics and do other things on Mondays, but a lot of people in churches are doing what we're doing right now. But I'm hoping that we can do it differently. You know, today is Memorial Day for another totally different group of people, and it's Say Their Name Sunday. And that's for all of the children who have died. And that comes from a very old Yoruba and West African tradition of saying their name. And we'll talk about the importance of names, you know, but we remember them at this time, especially in times when we are feeling or believe that we have to defend certain ideas and certain ideals of our country and of our people and of our nation and of our states and counties and townships and towns and neighborhoods and families. You see, it all comes down to very personal things. And if you believe that the Divine Mother cares about her children, and that we are all reflections of the Divine Mothers, that we are all the Divine Mothers from all times, compressed into little diamonds that shine. Those who have shined before us were also not just our venerated elders and heroes, but in the idea of the Civil War, when Memorial Day first started, 600,000, mostly young men, died. 600,000 in the service of the country that they felt this country should be. And they were deeply divided against each other in war, but maybe not in thought and deed, because maybe it was brother against brother who all grew up together and believed the same things, and they were divided by things that many of them didn't know. But in the end, 600,000 young men, mostly, had 600,000 mothers and 1.2 million grandmothers. Used to be the day we memorialized our children. Our children went to war against each other and died. There's so much we don't remember about the wars that we have fought. And today we're trying to remember who they were, how they were. In the Yoruba tradition, the African tradition, today marks the first day of Odunde. And that is a whole bunch of ceremonies and celebrations that were I in Africa, I would be very busy. In Grand Rapids, I'm not very busy at all. I don't have a congregation, and I don't have a house, and I don't have, 67 priestesses that all expect me to do ceremonies and things for them. I will, but they're just not around here so much. So I'm happy to have all of you here. But all of you here, I want you to think of a thing that we think of, and that is, as I say something to you, it reverberates, all right? I do divination every morning, and this morning my divination was called Reverberating Oyeku, which is the deafening sound of silence. And that means that all of the things that emanate out from us when it suddenly becomes still is deafening. when we forget the names of those who passed, when we don't remember our children. I can't think of anything. I have 7 kids. I have grandkids. I cannot think of anything worse than losing a child. Nothing. That's what Memorial Day is. It's about the day we lost our children. We don't remember that. Did you know that the first person in the Revolutionary War who died, does anybody remember his name? Charles, of course, does. No! Crispus Attucks. Crispus Attucks was a mulatto. That's what they called him at those times. We don't use that word anymore. But a mulatto was a mixed blood. And we don't even think of the United States of America as having mulattoes in the 1700s. But if you go way, 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 way back to the 1600s, the first person that was accused of witchcraft in the Salem witch trials, she was also a mulatto. The country that we had back then, we don't really remember. Crispus Attucks was half Native American and half black slave from Barbados. And he was an escaped slave. And he was a sailor and a merchant, what they could call a marine. He protected. He was a mercenary. And when he came into shore, the British were fighting an uprising, and he came to protect what he thought of as his neighbors, his people, and he was shot. Point blank. They say he grabbed a piece of cordwood and tried to hit a redcoat who was shooting at the people. Crispus Attucks was somebody's son. In the native language, his name means, Attucks means deer. He was from the Deer clan of his family, and his mother was named Nanny Attucks. Nobody remembers her, and on the census, she's listed as Nanny Attucks. They didn't know what her name meant. It meant mother. She was the mother of Crispus. She was a Christian. She named her child after Crispus, Saint Crispus, who was the first martyr after the apostles had been martyred, sort of the first civilian martyr, just like her son Crispus, who was the first civilian martyr, because we didn't have an army yet. It was more than 250 years ago. We don't remember the names of those who died. We're at like 275 years, I believe, from the first Minutemen fighting for this country. Did you know that a third of the Minutemen belonged to the Wampanoag tribe, the Lumbee tribe, that they were not British? They were not landed gentry. They were Irish peasants. They were Native Americans. They were escaped slaves. They were free men from the islands. So when you see the depictions of Minutemen as people in uniforms who are all uniformly white, that's not our country. When you have a memory of Memorial Day, I want you to think of all of the people, of all of the different tribes, of all of the different nations, of all of the different stations in life that died in the service and the protection and the victory of our country. And I want you to think that the thing that makes Memorial Day different is that they are being remembered and venerated by their mothers. In the African cultures, we have a tradition, and for many people, that tradition came to light in the popular idea of protest and resistance, and that is today is also the anniversary of the murder of George Floyd, and there was massive, massive protests at that time. And for the first time, many Americans heard the phrase, "say their name." When Breonna Taylor, who comes from Grand Rapids, who comes from my neighborhood, was killed, I think in Kentucky, we heard the words, say her name. We say the names of our dead to remember them. Why? Because their names are not just the thing that was given to them. It's not just a bunch of syllables. But in the African and the Hindu traditions, we name people after our saints. We name people after our ancestors. We name people after all kinds of things because we divine that that person will have a certain destiny and a certain character and a certain gentleness that they will learn throughout their life. And that destiny, that path, that journey that they chose to have is hidden in the names that were given to them and the names that they choose. So I'm called Baba Teddy because my name that was given to me is Babatunde. My teacher is Babatunde Olatunji. And I'm not named after a famous drummer. I'm named Babatunde for the same reason he is, because my grandfather died before I was born. And that means the father returns. Baba means father. And that means my father's father returned. You see, inside of the names are the whole of the things that we believe. We didn't have Bibles. We didn't have commandments. What we had was our memory and the furtherance of our memory with our names. And so when I call upon the names of Kali and Durga, I'm not just calling these two anthropomorphic people from the ethers that I think of as a goddess. I am calling on protection itself. I am calling on victory itself. I am calling on love itself. Because love in those traditions, in those languages, is a name. In the Greek tradition, when we say charisma, when we say, we mean love. The mother of God, the bride of God, is love. And love is the Holy Spirit. The love of the Spirit that is within us, the divine mother that is within us, has a duty to remember her children. Who here has a loved one that has died in the service? Who here has a loved one that has died before them? Your children. Who here has someone who died unjustly? I think that I'd like to spend the rest of my time, if Tim and Taylor would come up, singing, if you guys would give me a little Alleluia underneath. Alleluia means to praise something. And I want you to think about who you are remembering today. It could be an individual. It could be your child. It could be a veteran. It could be somebody who died who shouldn't have died because of disease, because of whatever the thing is. And because maybe not all of you have that in your life, and bless you, you're lucky, but you all have parents. You all have ancestors. You all have a mother. I say Jai Ma and praise the mother. And Ma is not a singular pronoun. Ma is all the mothers. All the mothers are one. All the mothers that have gone before us, all the grandmothers whose names we don't know, all the ancestors. We praise them and we venerate them by remembering them. We say their names. We say the Tridevi. We say Kali. We say Jai Durga. We say Jai Saraswati. We say Jai, all of the divas that have gone before us. In the Judeo-Christian religions, they do the same. In Kadesh, we say the names. If you are Jewish, you say the names of the dead. You recite them. you remember them, all of them. It's not just a Hindu thing. It's not just an African thing. It's a human thing. We're going to bookend our summer with Veterans Day and Memorial Day. 2 days when you can say their names, and say their names who died in the fight, who died because of injustice or inequity. I'm going to shut up. And if you have a feeling to, please say their names out loud. Maybe quietly if you're shy, maybe loudly if you feel like it's time that they were remembered. And it's time that we get to know those that you loved, that your mothers loved, that your grandmothers loved.
Hey, it's Reverend Mike here. I just wanted to stop for a moment before you get on with your day and thank you so much for spending time with us this morning. It means the world to us, and I just wanted to let you know if there's anything that we can do to make your experience even better, please do not hesitate to reach out by going to our website. I also wanted to offer you the opportunity for us to get together and sit down so I could get to know you a little bit better and answer any questions that you have. I can either do that by either getting together in person, have a cup of coffee, or we can meet online via Zoom. If you're interested, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can reach me at michael@courage2thrive.com. And lastly, if you find these messages are helping you, we would be tremendously grateful if you'd consider donating to the center. The best and the easiest way to do that is simple. Just go to our website. Again, thank you so much. Hope you have a great day. Hope you're doing well. God bless, and we hope to see you soon. Bye-bye now.